man.
Usually most creatives are just trying to stay away from the spotlight most of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not me and you.
I mean, I wouldn't say, I think that I would rather not be in, like, my natural element would rather not be in a spotlight, but I think that like if you're trying to tell a story, you got to tell it, you know?
Like it takes your face being there to be able to tell it?
No, not necessarily, but I think that I think for me it does. I think that, like, you know, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but I think that for me, I want to like demystify creativity a little bit and like let people know like that you can do it. So I think like showing myself and speaking myself and just let people know like, you know, I'm just a normal dude. So yeah.
Hey, well, here, let me intro this real quick before we get to it. Because like, damn, I was like, I could dig deep on this one. Guys, welcome back to That's the Angle. And today I am joined with Pierre, aka District Dodger. Not the District Dodger, but District Dodger. Yeah. I made that mistake so many times typing it into Instagram.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm District Dodger. This is the Bruce Allen.
Dude, that's a cool name. How'd you get that?
You know, when I started, I kind of started creative endeavors like around street photography. So it was like when, you remember when like street photography was like a heavy wave? Like
Tumblr wave?
Yeah, Tumblr and like Street Dreams magazine and that type of stuff. Like
it makes you think of the Sartorialist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. He was like huge for street photography. I felt like that in my mind was the time.
Right. Yeah. So it was like that. It was back then. I used to just get on the subway and just pick a stop and get off and just walk and take photos. So it was like
in DC.
Yeah. So it just kind of came up like District Dodger.
Ah, yeah. and so you grew up in DC?
No, so I grew up right outside PG County.
Oh, nice.
Fort Washington.
Pretty girl county.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, you're just so close you can come right in.
Yeah.
That's like one of those adventures like, oh, I'm just going to take the metro into the city, walk around, take photos. That's like something I tell myself on a Monday at 9 p.m. It's like, oh, that'd be so relaxing. But then then Friday or Saturday morning comes around and you're just like, fuck it all.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it. But you actually did it.
I was like, that was my way for a while before I was full-time freelance. And like I had a normal job or sort of normal job. That's what I would do. I would just get on the subway, get off but it'd be probably like every other day.
Wow. You know, that's dedication at first.
Just why I've walked from the Nat Stadium to the Verizon Center. I've probably walked the whole city.
And so what were you taking photos of? Were you trying to take photos of people, architecture, or
anything that caught my eye?
Dang. So what'd you end up doing with all that work?
That's on the hard drive.
You never put it out?
You know, the occasional bangers that I wanted to drop on IG, I did. But yeah, I still probably got a lot of stuff, man.
What were you doing street photography with? I'm always curious what people shoot street photography with.
A Canon Rebel T3i.
No, but your lens specifically.
Oh, 50.
Yeah.
The nifty 50.
That's a great street photography lens.
Yeah.
That and a 35.
Right.
But that must have been pretty interesting trying to get those angles with the 50 because it's so pitched in sometimes. Exactly. I feel like on a street, you end up shooting from the hip sometimes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, so I think that's that kind of my personality crafted my style. So I'm more chill. I'm not like, I know some great photographers, street photographers. Shout out my boy Kyle Miles. Like he can, when he has a camera in his hand, it doesn't matter. He doesn't get awkward. Like if he wants to take a picture of you, he'll take a picture of you.
He's just that guy.
Yeah, I'm not like that. I'm a little bit more like reserved. So I bet you if I really look back at the catalog, it's probably very, very kind of architecture driven, street art.
Less likely to like get in the homeless guy's face and be like, hey, can you hold that pose?
Right.
And
then no, I'm not. I never like if I'm taking a photo of you, I don't want you to know. Like I'm not gonna ask. I've never asked.
Just straight candid.
Yeah, I've never asked. I don't think I've ever asked anyone.
Do you not like the pose street photography, or is it just straight candid? I guess.
Not that I don't like it. I just. Again, just my personality isn't like it, I'm not gonna stop you and ask you for a photo.
Yeah, I think that's what's cool about photography is that your personality will really shine through
100%.
In your photos. Like you could probably look at your street photography and be like, oh, obviously Pierre's, I don't want to say shy, but like you're less upfront to people, like your friend. But it's like you still find your art within that.
Exactly. I think that's important. I think that's important. I think that like I think you have to like create from inside out as opposed to outside in, because it's just not going to be you. So if, for instance, if I was, seeing these great street portraits and I wanted to replicate those, like, I don't think it necessarily would have came out super good because it's not like my natural process.
Mm-hmm. You feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I think so. If you talk street, sorry, that's my bad. Yeah, no, no, that's me.
Anyone listens to this podcast, you don't know it, but the table that you're sitting on, like half of it works. So every podcast, I'm like, please don't collapse. Please don't collapse.
It's good. It's good.
It's okay. I fix it. You don't gotta worry about it.
Yeah. That's saying.
Outside in and inside out. You're talking about.
Yeah. So I think that. So if we're talking street photography, we're saying that you're going up to strangers, right? And I think like, so you had Dio on here.
Dio.
Yeah, excuse me.
It took me so long to get used to that.
Dio.
Okay. Yeah. Dio.
Yeah, right. I'm actually going to see him tomorrow. But his personality is incredible.
He is like, out there.
He can make anyone feel comfortable.
So true.
And that's a big part of that process, right? So if you want to ask people to take photos of them, like you have to have a personality in which people can trust you, and then that like wall will go down.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that personality. I think like I probably would have been slightly nervous myself to ask. So it would have came off a little nervous, and that energy probably would have came off on them, and the photo probably wouldn't have been that good. So that's to me, that's like, and I know I probably like overanalyze it, but
no, but I think you're 100% right. Yeah. Like Dio, I swear to God, you could just trust him within 2 minutes of meeting him.
He's incredible.
Like if he asked me to do something, I'd be like, all right, you seem like a nice guy. Sure, you can take my photo.
Right.
But if some kid came up and he's just like, hey, can I take your photo, man?
Exactly.
I'm like, nah, what are you gonna do with this?
Exactly.
Jerk off to it later?
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
No, but it's 100% true. Like the energy of what you put out, especially in that context, it's just what you get.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, I mean, so that's that was a caveat, but that's where the name came from. A long time ago. So,
how long ago was that?
What are we in 2019? So this had to be like maybe 2014.
Whoa. Yeah, 5-6 years, I guess, something like that. Dude, that's a long time. Yeah. And so I know you mostly as a videographer.
Yeah.
And is that something you purposely do now, or is it still half and half, or how does that split work look like for you?
So my work is probably like 90% video, 10% photography. I got into photography and then very quickly realized that people don't want to pay for photography. So
this is true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Pay your photographers, man. Like, I don't understand it, like just stop that. But anyways, so I end up just teaching myself video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So shout out to YouTube and all that. And it's
so annoying as someone who does primarily photos that video does so much better, but it's just, I think it's like video, normal people just can't do video.
It's just way more mystical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to like, I get it. I mean, you look at the megapixels in a lot of these like iPhones, and that's why people think they can do it,
Mm-hmm.
And then, excuse me, then the consumer camera is way better now.
Yeah.
Like you can get a $200, $300 camera. Like I was saying, I started off on the T3i, and that's I think I paid $250 for it, but I was doing full commercial gigs with it for a long time.
I started off on the T5i.
Okay,
not far off, dude.
Yeah.
Same freaking thing, and no one knows, no one can tell
exactly
because it's how you tell that story.
Right.
But it's like I feel that with video, you can take a video, but people they know that they have to edit, and that's what they don't know how to do.
Exactly,
like that's the difficult part for them.
Right. Well, I think a rule of thumb for me is that I believe that most people are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So with most people being lazy, I think that you can just shine if you just kind of pass over those low hanging fruits. So for me, it would have been easy for me to just stop at photography. But if my natural curiosity was venturing into video to honor that, I think that like the cream of the crop always, like, it's always going to be there for me. I think even if someone, so I would never tell anyone to like, oh, well, you need to do video. You know, you can't be just a photographer. I don't think that at all. I think that there are amazing photographers out here like that. Just their eye is crazy. Their ability to compose is crazy. Like, so I just think if you are really creating again from the inside going out, like you won't ever have.
So do you think video is better? Like on the hierarchy, do you think video is higher up than photography?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think that for me, it's about ideas first. So whatever you need to do for you to deliver a concept or tell a story, do that. So even if that means collaboration, but I wouldn't necessarily say something is easier or harder because that's just so like, that's so personal to, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Personal to your resources, personal to your skills, personal to your perspective, to, you know, what you've been through, what you're interested in. So,
but video does perform better on Instagram. So maybe that's saying something.
Okay.
Yeah. Oddly enough.
I mean, I think the future is definitely video.
Really?
Yeah. I think that, I think screens, you gotta think screens, bro. Like screens are everywhere. And I think, you know, even if you look at those LED like billboards, like, honestly, if everyone is used to photo billboards, so once those LED billboards are everywhere, they're going to want to activate it with short videos.
Really? Yeah. That's interesting. So what about like magazines? Do you think that magazines are just going to turn digital and it's just going to be like moving images or something?
Magazines, no. Magazines will become like analog in a sense where it's like tactile and collectible.
But almost like how film is now.
Exactly. It's just going to be something that people collect, like records. You know.
So you think like Instagram's going to get to this point where it's all video essentially?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
That's really interesting. Like it makes me think about some great migration where all the photographers are just like, fuck this, everyone can do it. I'm going to do video because no one can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that future, but at the same time, I don't know because I feel like photography always have kind of a weird space. Like it just occupies a weird space where it says something different than a video can. Like video takes a little bit of time investment, as where I think photography is like, boom, you see it, we're good.
Right.
You know, and video takes a little. You have to spend time with that content.
Depends on where the value goes. I think again, there's always going to be the cream of the crop, and like they're going to be really, really good, like photographers, and that will always be there. Because certain things like, you know, war photography and stuff like that documentation always will need to be there.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah, which is crazy. Super dope. But I think like popularity wise, if we're talking like everyone, as in like a general consensus, they'll move to video.
Dang.
Just kind of as like the focus.
Like the photo will be almost like a boomerang or something.
Even that.
Like a short moving photo or something.
Boomerangs.
Huh?
Think about boomerangs. Think about how they've just taken over. I hate boomerangs.
They are kind of annoying. I think they could be improved a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're kind of annoying how like fast they are, and you just kind of.
And then people just boomerang like weird stuff.
Right? I wonder if there's any boomerang artists.
Probably.
There's probably someone who makes bomb boomerangs.
There's a super cool girl here. What is her Instagram name? Damn. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all good.
It's the Il Nada. She does these super cool like film boomerang-esque like photos. Super dope.
So when it comes to video, I was like checking out your website, doing some research. Shout out Kate for doing research on people.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was checking out a lot of your work. It seems you had like a collection of like short films. You had a collection of like visuals, and I saw you even did like a Little Skies visual, which I was like, wow, I love Little Skies.
Yeah, that's dope.
Do you enjoy the more like not documentary, but do you enjoy the more short film storytelling or the kind of crazy try and trip you out or rapper background visuals?
It's all the same to me.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a story. Everything is a story for me. It's not like something is better than the others. I look at what I do is more so like, this is weird, but it's like you like the method actors. You know, like they said, like Denzel Washington on the set of Malcolm X was like still Malcolm X when they like cut. like that's how I look at the way that I work is that I'm sure people say I have a style, but for me, it's just about whoever I'm working with and whatever we need to do to tell the story. Like that's what I'll do. So if I'm working with an artist that's trippy, then I will kind of like, you know, take on that persona and create from that perspective. If I'm working with a short film that needs to be, you know, completely different than other work, then I'm okay with doing that as well. So I don't know. I don't like to get tied to like certain ideas or
it seems like you don't want to get
aesthetics
pigeonholed as the SoundCloud rapper visual artist.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want some trippy shit? Just
right.
go to District Dodge.
Right.
He's gonna put some stuff on that makes everyone baked in the crowd just freak out.
Right. Which I can do that, and I like to do that. But it's just not. It's not limited to that.
Your exhibition was pretty trippy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so just so people know, like a big reason why I even asked to be on this show is I kind of knew who you were, but I saw that you were and I had seen it kind of in the social atmosphere. I saw you were doing this exhibition. It was called In Real Life, right?
Yes.
And I just thought that was so cool.
Thank you.
Like someone in the city putting on and creating an event. And I guess that ties back into your ethos of you're trying to show people it's possible.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and that was sick. It was like this pop-up in Union Market, this warehouse district for a weekend, and it was an event.
All loved the Union Market. They were awesome working with me on that.
Yeah, dude, that was really cool. And I was just like, man, you know what? I was like, when I saw, I was like, all right, whoever is doing this, I need to find out who they are. I need to have them on my podcast because I don't meet many artists doing that.
Right.
Besides myself and a few others, I don't meet many people trying to put on like that.
Right.
You know, it takes a lot of cojones to even do that.
Yeah.
You know, like someone could hate your art, but the fact that you put that on,
you just shouldn't care.
Yeah, I mean, no, but even if they hated what you did, they could still respect the fact that you did that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you hope. Some people still probably don't, but it's cool.
Yeah, but tell me about that exhibition, man, because, I mean, what was the inspiration behind In Real Life and that whole thing?
I think for me, there's just never any limit. Like, why limit myself? And I think that I think you just got to follow what like your soul tells you to do.
Really?
Yeah, I think that I think whatever you're like naturally interested in, you should just pursue that to a certain extent. You know, I don't think that there should be limits as to like what this person is, what that person is. Obviously, I think for us to understand, you know, I can say that I'm a videographer or I'm a director or I'm a visual artist or whatever context that I need to do. But for me personally, not to be tied to those titles. I don't think there's anything wrong with titles because you need genres, just for it to be understood in a loose way. But I more so think the creator shouldn't be necessarily tied to those titles. So for me, it's just been like a natural progression of space and understanding space and how I would activate a space. I've been into art and everything for a while. I was like the kid, shout out No Kings, Peter and Brandon, my brothers.
Yeah, respect to those guys. I love what they've been doing.
Yeah. So they used to like let me into their art shows like that were 21 and up and I was like 15.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like take the taxi down to like Art Wino and
no, those guys have been putting on for a long time, I've heard. It's so easy to think that they just started doing it, but someone was like, yo, no, they've been in the game for 10 years.
Yeah. Literally 10 years, if not more. Sorry. I think she might be downstairs. Yeah, she's downstairs.
Is she here?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just take a quick pause and we'll pick up from right here because we know exactly where we're at. That's why I don't do them live so we can cut it.
That's fine. Hello.
I'll go get her.
Yeah, Bruce is gonna come get you. Guy in a pretty awesome looking shirt. Okay. Just take that.
All right, so where were we? So you were sneaking into No Kings Collective's art shows.
Yes.
At 15.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
My big brothers, they were awesome.
But you were going to art shows at 15. That's impressive.
Yeah. I've always kind of been into it, just kind of through the sneaker culture. So kind of got really heavy into sneakers, like through basketball, 8th, 9th grade, and from there,
like just, the SBs.
Yeah, so SBs were big, Jordans were big, but definitely SBs. SBs kind of was so Jordans were a wave for sure. Shout out to everyone who used to be on Nike Talks forum. If you remember me, Treadmill and P was my screen name back then.
I hope someone in the audience right now is just like, yo, in the comments, like, yo.
Right. So Jordans were big, but Nike SB was like avant-garde.
Dude, those were insane. Yeah. I will never forget some of the pairs I would just look up online as like a high schooler and middle schooler and just wish I had the De La Souls.
Right.
Or wish I had the pigeons and stuff like that.
I had the purple pigeons.
You had those?
Yeah.
God, you must have been a hustler then.
Yeah, I was.
You were you were reselling and buying up?
Yeah.
Dude,
sure. Yeah. Actually, my mom always says how like at first she didn't know how I was making money in high school, and then she just, at first I think she was a little like, oh, what are you doing? And then once she started seeing shoes come in and out,
she thought you were up to no good.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, I just kind of let him do his thing.
It's 100% legal when you're hustling.
Yeah.
It's crazy because that's really cool now for kids. Like the whole Supreme culture now made it so
crazy.
All the kids now are buying and reselling, but doing it back then was unheard of.
It was love back then. It was rooted more in love versus the stunt or the this or that. Because realistically, if you were wearing SBs, like all those crazy colors, you could, get made fun of. Not like seriously, but people would be like, oh, them shoes are pink.
No, 100%. Because there was some weird stuff coming out, like the pink fuzzy ones and stuff. Mm-hmm. If you wear out those, people think you're sus or something.
Yeah.
And also there was no Instagram flexing, so people really weren't doing it for the gram back then. It was just like, no, I'm doing this. And people who know about these shoes are going to be like, holy shit, I can't believe he's walking in those things.
And that was before gay slurs weren't cool.
That's 100% true.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna lie. Like those are some of my favorite insults. Not to gay people,
right?
But just in general,
right? Yeah, man, we can't be so serious.
I at least on that one. Everything else they can have,
right?
But sometimes I just want to be like, yeah, that's gay.
Right.
Dude, so funny story. We're gonna go off topic here. I was at my favorite coffee shop right up here called Tacoma Bev. And this barista that I see all the time, I thought we were cool. I thought we were cool, right? And we're not cool after this conversation.
Yeah.
And we start chatting it up, blah, blah, blah. Start talking like some stupid, just like men talk about like girls and like just dumb shit. Like, and somewhere in the midst of that conversation, he says something and I was like, oh, that's gay. He's like, whoa. He's like, don't say that word. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you shouldn't use the word gay like that. Like it's highly offensive. And I'm like, dude, but it just feels good to say gay sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't mean an offensive way.
Right.
Like it's just like a word.
Right.
And he's like, well, you can think of 1,000 other words. And I'm like, all right, man. Yeah, you're probably right. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, like, let me not say that. And so the conversation keeps going. And then I messed up and we were talking about
you said it again.
No. I said an even worse word. We're talking about like girls and me being the dumbass I am, I was like, yeah, man, I love those bitches. Oh my God. But like, the context now sounds so terrible.
Yeah.
But like, I think I was like, those Instagram bitches or something like that. And he's like, whoa, don't use that word either. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, bitch is such an offensive word. I'm like, dude, these are some of my favorite words.
Right.
Like bitch and gay should be okay to say sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You don't have to agree. Yeah, I don't want to get you in trouble.
I think that it is what we make it.
Yeah.
It is what we make it.
Yeah, but I think that ties into art as well.
100%.
Because I don't want to ever have to feel scared to create or to put something out because I'm going to offend someone.
No. Oh, I have some offensive stuff that
you haven't put out?
Yeah.
See?
No, I haven't put it out yet. It's still idea. Still in the concept stage.
Okay.
So,
what does it comment on?
Race. Race. What it means to be a female.
True.
All sorts of stuff. I'm like I said, conversation is so big for me. If I can like talk to a 20-something female and get her perspective on like what it means to be a female kind of in this culture now, or what it means to be a Black female in this culture now, or what it means to be a Spanish female in this culture now, I feel like in a way I have like kind of like lived that life.
Really?
If I ask the right questions.
What do you mean?
So I guess I'm a super visual person.
Try talking to the mic, by the way.
I'm a super visual person, so so when I'm talking to people, I can kind of like see the experience in my mind, and then it feels more personal. So from there, I'm able to kind of create from within that place because I'm taking myself emotionally to that place that they're in. So I had all sorts of things I want to do. Coming of age movie. Like I love coming of age movies.
Did you see mid-90s or was it early 90s?
Yeah, mid-90s.
How perfect was that? How old are you, by the way?
27.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're all basically the same age. Yeah, that movie hit home for me.
It's fire.
Everything about that hit home.
He killed it.
Yeah.
He super killed it.
But what was interesting about what you just said is trying to tell the story through someone else's eyes. My last podcast guest just made me super woke to this idea. Have you ever heard of the idea of holding space?
What context?
So holding space for someone is allowing them to express the idea in the way that they want to be presented. Or I'm going to hold this space for Pierre to express his life and his arts in whatever way he wants. Mm-hmm. So an example would be like, let's say you're trying to tell a story of Asian girls marginalized in American culture, or Asian women, right?
Right.
Instead of Pierre being like, let me dress them up like kinky cosplay girl, and then that's gonna have the tone of towards that.
Right.
Holding space would be like you talking to them like, hey, so here's my idea. I want to do this. How would you feel best comfortable representing this idea with my creative twist on it?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I feel like you have to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to do that. If there's no rules, but if you are trying to tell a specific story, you have to, if it's not fiction, if you're trying to comment on something that is actual, then you have to figure out, you have to do your research. I'm more of a researcher. I'm more analytical when it comes to creating. I'm not the person that's going to sell this mystic, like, oh, I just got this idea. It just dropped in my head. Like, I'm so creative. I walk on the beach with no socks, you know.
Smoke my spleef.
Right.
Walk on the beach with no socks and
it just hit me.
And think deeply.
Yeah, it just hit me.
So when you get an idea, you kind of, like what, you look up the history of things, or you start
researching like crazy.
So how does that tie into your last, was that your first exhibition?
Yeah, it was my first.
So how does that tie into the concept of that?
So the concept of that, I'm a huge fan of Rick and Morty. Huge fan of Rick and Morty. It's like, it's easily like one of my favorite shows ever. So that like multiverse theory, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it as far as this is truth or whatnot.
What exactly is the multiverse theory?
So the multiverse theory is that there are alternate universes in which we exist in all at once. Okay. So there could be an infinite amount of us. So there could be, several different me's in different universes that are on different like tracks.
Oh wow.
Life.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. So that's kind of the premise of Rick and Morty. And kind of watching that and thinking like on social. I mean, we all kind of have that like homie who's like kind of different on social media. Just like, I know you in real life, but like on social, you just act a little different.
Whether he's trying to be a flexer or whether he's just trying to act sad boy or something.
Yeah, like yeah. It's just like, you're not this.
Just presenting something different.
Yeah, it's just, so it just, it allows people to take on these personas that are just a little different than them. So I looked at it in a super dramatic fashion, and I'm like, well, man, this is like two different realities that
like
we coexist.
That's like the multiverse right there.
Exactly. So instead of looking at it as like physical different universes, looking at it as we are in this reality, which is like the physical world, but then we also exist in this digital reality. So with that came the idea of in real life. And the title hit me first. And then from there, I just kind of worked backwards. So I always tend to work backwards. Whatever the final like idea or concept that I'm trying to get across, that is the start of it. And then from there, I'll move backwards. Trying to like...
Yeah, like that drives the narrative.
Exactly.
Like, what can I deduce from this, and how can I find the meaning from in real life? Because it's like the two worlds in real life. Like, how do I...
Right.
So was it like you were trying to say that... And I don't want you to define it. This is just me figuring this out and what your thought process was. It was because the first room was, it seemed like giant cell phones.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there's like 3 giant cell phones, and they were rapidly scrolling just through anything we would go through on our phones.
Yep.
And I was looking at that kind of like trying to keep track of it, but I'm just like, oh, it feels like you're trying to like do a take on how we scroll or this the universe or
so the whole premise is really just to kind of have a space that's like that intersection of the physical and the digital reality. And looking at that, if the digital is a reality, then everything in our normal reality of which we know, the physical world, kind of applies in that reality as well. So everything from our basic wants and needs. So that piece was meant to show that everything that we can want in the physical world, we can want in the digital world as well, or we can get, better said. So scrolling through, you saw community, which is social media. You saw sex, which is like there was a very, very mild cam girl thing on YouTube. I didn't want to get too crazy because I knew my grandma was going to be there. So, and then there's food with like Uber Eats and stuff like that, the news app. So really that piece was meant to show you that anything we could desire in the physical realm is also available in the digital realm. So again, if we're looking at the digital realm in this dramatic fashion, that means every existential question that has, been on man's mind since the dawn of time, whether, what's our purpose? Why are we here? This, that, and the third, like that applies to the digital as well. Which I tend to find myself asking myself more in the digital than the physical.
Really?
Yeah.
Like asking yourself what?
Just like, why? Why am I doing this? There's a lot of noise, bro.
So do you just wish
there's just
it
a lot
didn't
of
all
noise.
exist or something?
No,
like you're anti-social media?
No, not at all. I just think that it's just that kind of that degree of kind of being anonymous allows people to just live out these weird things that they want to do, whether that's being a troll or whether that's super stunting.
Oh, so you don't like
you
don't like anonymity, or I'm probably even saying that wrong. Whatever, being anonymous online.
Yeah. I think that if you're not asking yourself the existential questions that hopefully you're kind of asking yourself in the physical, then in the digital, you're just kind of able to do whatever. So if I know exactly why I do about 99.9% of the stuff that I do.
Really?
Yeah. So everything is for a reason. Everything is to drive a narrative. And I guess this kind of goes back to me being a director, a storyteller, like videographer. So everything that I do is kind of like driving a narrative. And I think that if you don't think about it like that, then you can misstep. So I think the idea that I need to make someone desire to be me in order for them to enjoy something I create or to partake in something that I create is BS.
I see exactly what you're saying there.
I'm more open source. Like it's not, I don't want you to think anything I do is super mystical. I want you to understand that like through hard work and through research and through figuring out and being true to yourself that you can do whatever it is in your lane that you want to do. But I find that there's so much noise now because everyone, to me, like Instagram is just like a whole bunch of people yelling to look at me.
That's exactly what it is.
And look how important I
want your attention. Follow me. Yeah. I'm worth following. I'm doing cool things. I'm on this podcast.
You should listen to me.
Exactly.
This, that, and the third. Like, nah, man. You know, it's just corny. It's just corny.
That is not the reason why I've created this podcast.
No. No, you're providing a service.
But in a way, it's like this digital space created it so that's how we function in these things. And it almost makes it seem like anything you do within these things has that effect.
That's why I'm torn a lot.
Even if you just wanted to just post something you enjoyed, even if it was just me at my art show, I'm not trying to flex on you. I'm not trying to do this. It'll still feel like, oh, that's so cool. Look what he's doing. Like he's presenting the best things about himself.
Right.
And I think that's where it gets sticky for you. Or just maybe people.
That's
people
exactly
in
where it gets sticky. I mean, a lot of my stuff is like rooted in conflict. It's like I created my brand and I'm able to like sustain and live my life because of the digital world. Most of the things that I create is direct or digital, whether that be on the work side where I'm working with different companies on video projects and commercials and stuff like that, or whether that be on the art side, it's digital. So that's the whole idea of that like contrast within the space. Like we're literally at the intersection of the physical and the digital because that's where I live. Because I live more for me, and I live more for the things that pique my eye, and I try to stay very true to how it feels when it hits my eye initially. But at times you just feel like, man, like it was like back in the day when you saw a shoe, you would like it based on how you felt. Like that interaction you had with that creation. Right? It's like it meant something to you. Yeah. So it's like, man, like holding this or seeing this or that, it means something to me. And this is why I like it. But
the effect isn't the same when it's just a picture on the internet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the effect isn't the same now because you cannot clearly move through art now because everybody is quick to present how. So if Astro World came out on a Friday.
True.
By lunchtime that Friday, people were saying that this is a classic album.
Yeah.
Like, you got through the album like twice, maybe one and a half times. How could you say it's a classic? Granted, I love the album, but that's just what I'm saying. So if I kind of, if I'm shooting or if I'm a person that has a job or whatever, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it, by the time I'm listening to it, I already saw 30 people say it was a classic. So that's influencing how I'm consuming the art.
So you're saying like that predisposition of how you already should be, you're even subconsciously being told it's already good.
Exactly.
Before you even come to your conclusion, oh, it's classic. Exactly. But it's like, classics aren't built in a week. Classics are built through time. And after you listen to it 1,000 times, and then everyone kind of realized, oh, whoa, Astro World really summed up that generation.
Yes.
That's a classic. But it feels like it was quickly labeled or something.
Yeah. So
and I know that's just an example.
Yeah, that's just an example. And, like I said, I love the album. But when I was in the gallery, I was explaining to people, like when I used to come home and my mom was playing like Stevie Wonder, like songs in the key of life, it meant something to me on a deeper level. And I was young. I didn't know that it was like widely considered one of the best albums ever created. I just knew the way that it hit my ear and how it made me feel like walking in and like smelling my mom cooking and like, if it's Magic playing. And that meant something, So for me, it doesn't, it is what it is. I'm not a person to err on either side. I think that it's our reality. So to look back and to say, oh, this was better, or this is worse, that's kind of like,
it's crazy that like you have this stance on digital where it almost seems like gloomy where it's like, I wish I was born 100 years ago, but not really, because
because I love it.
There are advantages to all this stuff, but at the same time, it's scary. And it's almost scary to think that for you, especially for photographers, it's different because we can print our work. Like you can't really print a video.
No.
That's scary, right? If everything went cold, all your art's gone.
I can project a video though.
That's true. That's true. But you can never have a physical version of it, which is nuts.
Which is why, again, for me, it's not really about, it's just about the idea. If I get a tactile idea, which I have some, like I'm going to make it happen however way I need to. You know, I was just looking at 3D printers the other day.
Those are crazy.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've heard about them recently. Remember when they first came out, it was everyone was on the nuts of that.
Yep.
Now it feels like they kind of went back underground or something.
Because everyone's listening to Astro World.
Everyone's popping half his in.
Right. I mean, tactile, like things that you can physically hold, like that's incredible. You know, I'm a bit of a hoarder, probably, if you ask my beautiful girlfriend.
Is he a hoarder?
Like,
she said yes.
It's just, again, to me, so sorry. To me, that is like a nod to my youth. So if I see something and I'm like, oh, that looks cool, I can have that experience without like any disruption. I can have that relationship with that object. Whether it's like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, I can have that relationship with that object. And if it lasts like more than 15 seconds, then I need to have it.
And you're aware of that feeling.
Yeah. I'm super aware, man. I'm always like...
Do you view the world from like outside yourself in a weird way? Almost like you see things in third person?
I wouldn't say...
Or do you like think about things like that? Because
I wouldn't say third person. I would just say I'm always open and aware, and I'm always looking at everything, and I'm always composing a storyline in my head. There's always something, like, you know, we'll be sitting there at having a date, and we'll see somebody, and in my mind, I'll instantly just kind of make up a storyline of what is going on at that booth or that table.
Dude, me and my friends used to sit around doing that all the time.
It's just great.
You see someone and you just think, all right, what's their life story? And you try to deduce them by looking at their hands, by looking at what they're wearing, by the scars on their face and everything like that.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if you're right.
Yeah, it's just, you just got to be, I think art isn't just one thing. Like art is everything. Art is everything.
Art is in everything? Or
art is everything.
And everything is art.
Yeah. Yeah, because if art is a creation, everything is created, right? This is created, everything is created. So, you know, that experience that you have with that thing is art. Even if you don't like a well-designed coffee mug where the handle fits right in your hand, and you have that experience every morning of drinking your coffee out of that mug, or like my favorite robe at home. Like, it just makes me feel like a skinny Rick Ross without the beard.
Oh, yeah, well, that was way better.
Yeah, I practiced that a few. Yeah, so like that experience is art. So, and that doesn't limit to good experiences. It limits to it's bad experiences too. I have like some kind of like sensory overload ideas that I'll be doing in the future, where it's like you go in a room and it's like lights flashing, music is like so loud that you just can't like bear it.
That's complete overload.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to,
and that's art too.
I can't describe what that feeling would be like. It'd have to be like strobe lights in your face, music blasting that's just all over the place, like some crazy remix Japanese producer thing.
Right.
That's like super chopped.
Right.
And then you have to be smelling something.
Yep.
And then maybe somebody gave you like a popsicle and you're like, what is this flavor? That'd be kind of a nuts idea. Trying to
some gummies.
Some like, some crazy gummies. How baked do I need to be for this conversation right now?
Right.
No, I mean, your approach in the world is beautiful. I mean, and it's crazy.
It's good. I think it's good, but there's pros and cons always, and my mind is always working. It's always like, it's just always going. It's always going. Like at night, in the morning, you know, like it's always going, because I'm always kind of like just thinking and wondering, and you know, like our friends come over and they know that like I'm going to ask them like 30 questions. I'm just interested. It's just interested in the perspective. Like it's important. You know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I think like, you know, take it back to In Real Life. In Real Life just was kind of like a comment on that intersection that I stand in, I live in, that I feel conflicted about all the time. Cause I don't want I don't want people who can't critically think to be like led in the wrong way. Right. So it's like if you see someone who's doing this, doing that, like showing this life, that life, you're not thinking about the bad. You may just think, oh, I need to do this. I need to be doing more of this, that, and the third. Like you don't need to stay to your lane.
It feels like you think about art and sharing your art, especially in that exhibit, in like a second or third layer. So like I personally only create art that sometimes reaches those layers because I act like everyone's stupid. Like it's weird. It's really weird. But like when I create my photography, like my more fine art driven stuff,
right, I
always try to do that on one layer deep,
right?
Because I assume that most people can't think too deep unless you tell them. But I want someone to look at this and be like, oh, I get it. Right. And then maybe they're driven into layers that I didn't make. Right. And that was something that was weird because I bet you had this experience at your exhibit where someone would come up to you with a meaning on your art that you never. Yeah, that was never your intention.
Sure. Yeah, and that's fine. You know, that's because again, so we're speaking like perspective. So like, there's no reality. There's only your own reality. Mm-hmm. You know, like I could be a complete asshole to you, and like she can love the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And y'all can argue forever, but we would never come to a consensus of what's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So your reality is your truth. And we can't debate that. So if someone comes in and you know, there's a concept that they take away from something that I create, then that's right.
That's awesome. Cool. You can never say that wrong.
Unless it becomes a personal thing where they're like, I think that you are saying this, then I can correct them and say, no, that's not what I'm saying. But if they say this makes me feel like this, then they're right. Mm-hmm. You know?
And that's the point of it. And I also think that a lot of times I think art should piss you off sometimes. I think it should make you feel some way. If it leaves you in the middle, then I feel like sometimes you didn't do your job.
You can't be safe. You can't be safe, but you can't be wild for the sake of being wild. It has to just make sense to you, just to you. If it makes sense to you, it's cool. But if you're just doing it just to be wild or just to be avant-garde or just to be this, that, and the third, then
you're saying that's not like natural or organic.
No. Whatever is natural to you, maybe not even natural necessarily, because I have some ideas that I will definitely take me out of my own comfort zone, but the idea was natural. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So the statement or the concept is something that I came up with, and yeah, it may take me out of my comfort zone, but I'm super committed to ideas come first and then everything comes after that. You know, like the exhibit had, you know, light design, had painting, had kind of a little bit of everything, but I'm not a painter at all. But the idea comes first, and then everything afterwards I'll morph into whatever I need to make the idea happen and make the experience and the story be able to hit. Mm-hmm. And I think if you think from that way, no one will ever be able to stop you from creating the things that you want to create. And that, again, is tied back into creating from the inside out. Because then there are people who claim to be multifaceted just because they want to look a certain way.
Because they want to look multifaceted.
Yeah, they want to look like,
not because I'm a driving art center, but because they want to look multifaceted.
Exactly. So I'm a photographer. I'm a a creative director. I'm a stylist. I'm a rapper and producer all in one. Now there are.
But how much do you really trust someone who does all those things?
The work will always speak. I never question anyone. I just say, can you shoot me over some of your work, or I'll just look and see if they're scattered or if they're concise and focused. Because I do think that you can do a lot. I think if you're thoughtful and you're trying to create a world and there's some type of tying theme or whatever, then you can do a lot. Like you can do a lot. You can, if you have, there's I'm trying to show love to all the homies. But I'm forgetting Instagram names.
You guys circle back to them.
Yeah. There's I cannot remember this name. But anyways.
Yeah.
So I can't remember his name. But anyways, like I was saying, so there are artists that we enjoy that literally will create a whole world. I always reference like Tyler, the Creator.
True. What world
he has music, film. As far as like his music videos are kind of geared into short films. He has a distinct like clothing line. So all that stuff he produces, all that stuff, it can seem like, okay, cool. Well,
do you think that he like naturally produces them, or do you think they're a product of just his success?
I don't know. Yeah. But from my understanding, it seems like he does. It seems like he starts with a concept or inspiration, and then he moves backwards from there. Because from there, it's not that hard, and that's the part of demystifying art that I'm like super super obsessed with. Because for in real life, the concept was first, and then everything come after wasn't hard because I understand my concept. So even when I did my rollout and I had I dressed up in a full hazmat like jumpsuit. And I put goggles on and a face mask, and the concept drove that decision because I want to act like I'm traversing through another reality.
Oh, and that was on your feed. I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So again, if you start with a concept or a reference or a few references or whatever, and I want to get across this, everything else can come afterwards. Everything from the clothes that you wear, even. The opening reception, I wore like a white vest with white pants.
Yeah, you were all white, man.
And that was like my modern version of a lab coat. So your references to me is
which
like,
goes back to the Rick and Morty reference.
Exactly. You see how it all ties in.
Yeah.
But it's not anything that I necessarily need to like yell out or this or that, because it's personal for me. But once you start with that concept, everything kind of falls underneath that. And I think that if you can create something that people can consume however they intend, then you'll always be good. So if there's one of our friends, shout out Jonay, she came up to me at the opening reception and was like, I don't really understand art or anything, but I like this. It looks good. And that's fine for me. That's cool. I don't feel any type of way about that. It doesn't make me upset. And then there are other people like yourself and others who were interested in the deeper layers of it. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. We can talk about that as well. So I'm not here to say, oh, well, you gotta, if you like, no, if you can create something that on the surface level looks good and makes people feel a certain way, makes them feel good or whatever. And then on the deeper level, people who want to take a more analytical stance and really look at it and analyze and talk about the idea and the concept, they can enjoy it as well. You're good to go.
I think that's an interesting way to create. Oh, it just looks good, but no, there's way different levels to it. And I think that's what happens to a lot of artists that even die and their art's not recognized. But when they die, everyone just kind of goes, wait a minute, this is actually genius. Whether it was Van Gogh or it was Basquiat or anyone like that, it's kind of like they see it after the fact.
Even like late Picasso.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with too much Picasso. Me and Sarah, my friend who's visiting North Carolina, we've been spending a lot of time in like the Portrait Gallery and the National Gallery of Art.
And I like the Portrait Gallery. I like that third floor.
I'm trying to think of the third floor.
That's where the neon piece is. It's like the neon piece of the outline of the United States.
We didn't make it to the third floor.
Everyone forgets that there's a third floor. I've
seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of pictures of it. I always think no one does it justice photography wise, but I think it looks tight.
Yeah. 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 Photograph art better, guys.
No, but even like those pieces, you look at them and you're kind of like, I don't get it. Or you're like, why is this famous? Why is he famous? But it's more than that.
It's super more than that. People who say things like that are stupid.
Dude, you're an artist. You're an artist to the bone, dude. Like I don't know if I'm as much of an artist as you are.
I try not to be a purist, but sometimes I land on that side. And the way I always say that there's no right or wrong, sometimes I even contradict myself in that statement. Just because it's a preference. Like there's my interests are very like niche and spot on, and I know exactly what I like and why I like it. And if I don't like it, I can tell you why I don't like it.
Like it makes me think that like when you go home, you don't just like fuck off and play video games. Like you go home and you're like art, music. Like let me just draw. Like storyboarding. Like it just makes me feel like you just operate in a whole different world than I operate. Like
no, I consume a lot. So I try to consume a lot of art. I try to consume a lot of like everything if I can, music, movies, everything. Like I just try to consume, and I try to again, form those opinions on what I like and what I don't like, but not as truth, as a personal experience with that creation. And then from there, I can take something from here and put it to there. And I think that is the part of art and creating that I think people don't all the way understand, is that references are huge. References, like my phone has like 5,000 images in it, and it's just all random things that like I see and I just snap a picture. And just kind of having a relationship with those references, you can create something, because there's nothing that's new. Nothing is new.
So you don't like the excuse of I'm not inspired?
Yeah, I think you should always be inspired. I don't see how you can.
I've
not
heard that
be
so many
inspired.
times. Someone's like, "Oh, I'm just feeling so uninspired today." But
it's a cool.
Not everyone can.
Say.
It's like not everyone can just
stop saying stuff for cool reasons. Like it's just like, don't say stuff that doesn't make sense. Have you looked for inspiration? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, just be open. Be open. Like, don't be so. I don't. Like, don't be so in your head. Just be open. But I'm speaking from a place of I've been there. I've been for so long. It even like to hear him say like, I'm an artist. Artist is so like weird to me, because for so long I wasn't completely open to being called an artist, because again I just thought that it was like, you hear of like Basquiat and Van Gogh and these people, and it's like they're just like
that's
here.
an artist.
Yeah,
like they operate like on a whole different world, and you're like, I don't come close to that. And
I don't
feel like they're untouchable in a way.
Exactly. But then you, like, as you referenced, at the time, maybe people weren't looking at them that way either.
Yeah.
When Basquiat was just like,
they just seemed like a normal dude or something.
Yeah.
Like,
even the last, a year of his life, like he was almost like back to being homeless. Like people wasn't really fucking with him like that. But now it's like, there's like, Urban Outfitters, Basquiat collaborations.
I hate to say I bought that a couple years ago, but it's sad. It's sad that I don't know. In a way, like I'd rather be famous before I die than like a Basquiat or Van Gogh, where it's like, I mean, sure, Basquiat got the acclaim before he died, but Van Gogh, apparently, he had no light. No one knew about him.
Just came out,
and then when he died, he became famous after that. That's so sad. Like,
he literally was because of how people used to kind of like just shit on him. He went crazy at the end.
Really? So I didn't see that movie.
Like
so what happened?
He cut his ear. I didn't see the movie yet. But I think it's up for an Oscar. Did you see it?
You say he cut his ear off?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. It's really hard to conversate with people who aren't on microphones because they can't hear. So we'd have to like translate it. But he cut his ear off. Wow. But see, that's so sad. Like he lived this desperate life. And would you be okay with that? Like if that happened to you?
I don't give a fuck about.
Really?
It's like, I like the idea. For me, conceiving the idea, creating, researching, that's the part that I like. The after part isn't really my vibe. So I really super loved everyone that came to the opening reception. Everyone that came to the gallery, and I love the response, but I'm not tied to that response.
But what if no one came?
I would have been the same, the exact same. There's nothing, because I enjoy the idea and the process of creating the idea, and then once I put it out there, I really don't care about the idea anymore. So I don't create with any like external need for stimulation. I only create for what I have to create. It's just like breathing for me. It's like something that I have to do. So after it's done, it's like an exhale.
Yeah. I put it out there.
It's gone. Yes, it's gone.
Take
so
it.
how you, if you can take something from it and you enjoy it, that's amazing. If not, cool as well. So I'm not really looking for anything. I'm not looking for, this is what, I need people to know,
So you're not deleting
this.
a post that doesn't perform well.
No. But again, this has all been a progression. So I don't want it to seem like I'm, whatever. This has been a progression of me analyzing. Like I used to use the tags, the hashtags and stuff like that.
So how long, you mentioned that you're now full-time freelance, which is congrats to you. That's insanely impressive. Yeah. How long have you been doing that for?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Wow. And so how has that, I don't want to say how it's been going, but like, it seems like the business part would have been hard for you. I mean, it's hard for anyone, but like, it seems like for someone who's so heady about things and something that I've seen about my other artist friends who are way more heady than maybe either of us combined, it's like the business part they just don't get. And I'm like, dang, it sucks because I don't, it's scary in a way, but it seems you figured out to be in it 3 years.
Yeah. So
how does that work?
Both my parents are entrepreneurs. My dad is from Guyana.
Oh, so you got that business side.
Yeah. So they, like being able to just pick us up, from school for a doctor's appointment or come to my basketball games or whatever, like, just from having that freedom, like that was drilled into me. So my dad's been kind of drilling, that into me for a long time. So it's all I know.
So you, what did your parents do, if you want me asking you?
My dad has a construction company. So my dad came to this country like when he was 17, just by himself.
Wow.
And lived in New York for years, and my dad has never had a boss or regular job. He had a store and started other businesses and has had his construction business since the 90s, and they do super well. So it just wasn't put into me to work for someone, and I don't think that is necessarily wrong to work for anyone. But just my personal, I just can't do it. So
but there must have been a time when you were.
Yeah. So I did. I was in sales for the majority of like my work life. So the last time that I worked a job, I was 23.
Mm-hmm.
I was 23. So I got fired from that job for being too passionate about photography, and I kind of had a crossroads. Like I had a job offer from Living Social because it was a thing back then. And I just had to.
What was Living Social?
Living Social was it's like Groupon.
Okay.
But like with it, like experiences and stuff.
Okay.
So I had a choice to like go work for them or to like pursue my photography and videography at the time, like full time. And I went that route.
What was that break for you that kind of said you could pursue it? What was it?
Well, I got fired. I didn't have a choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got fired. It was like Halloween. And again, I just kind of had that choice of going, working for Living Social. And in my mind, I'm just like, man, I'll have to get on a train.
That must have been kind of scary for you though.
Yeah, I guess. But I also kind of don't have a good analysis of risk. It just risk doesn't like seem like a thing for me. Only because like, what is the worst that can possibly happen? I'm not going to die. I'm not going to go to jail. So I can figure it out.
I got a friend's couch you could crash on. And
I mean, my parents like love me. So, if anything happened, like I can, still, I guess in theory, like I won't be on the street.
Yeah.
For sure. Like my dad definitely would, if I had, like, he would definitely be like, yo, you need to like get a job or something.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to end up on the street.
So what were some of like the early jobs you were getting when you were like taking that seriously and you were just when your passion got you fired, I guess maybe you were at work doing it, which I think happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're at work, you spend all your time editing, managing clients and stuff. What kind of work were you doing then? Was that, cause you said you were doing a lot of street photography. Was it the video jobs or what was it?
So no, I was a sales, I managed a sales region for a company called Progenics, which is a protein company.
Yeah.
So we would it was specific to the CrossFit market. So I'm also like I'm also a certified CrossFit coach and Olympic like weightlifting coach.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So at the time I was like super kind of into that. And so I worked for a protein company and I managed a region. So we didn't have like an office. Our offices were in Utah. So basically my job was from Pennsylvania through North Carolina. If you owned a gym, I was like your sales contact.
You go in there, hey, carry our products.
Yeah. You buy wholesale, sell it back to your members at retail. So I did that. So it was flexible. So that's how it was like, I'd go visit a gym. I'd drive down to Charlotte and be visiting gyms, but I also would, walk from a gym to another gym.
That must have been painful for you though. Or was it?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. It was super painful. It was kind of just feeling like I knew I was different than all like the other sales colleagues. I just knew I was a little different. I knew that they would like have jokes about like how my Instagram looked, or like we'd be at a retreat and I'd stop and like take a random picture of like a tree and they'd be like, oh, there's Pierre again. So it was that type of situation. And, to be honest, I deserved to be fired. Like my sales numbers were some shit. So I didn't, I'm still cool with all those guys. So shout out to Progenics. And, but yeah, so I mean, from there, it was I had to talk with the CEO and he was completely real with me, Ryan Page, and he was just like, man, you should go off and like do your photography, like really, Whoa. Yeah, you should like go. He's like, you'll make more in one shoot than you do here. So
how was that when you first?
I was mad at first, like when like you get fired right before the holidays. I got rent to pay.
That sucks.
So I was mad at first, but then again, just my kind of like natural chillness and also I guess a little bit of confidence or cockiness, depending on who you're talking to, kind of took over. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'm gonna make it work.
So you got fired during the holidays. You're sitting there like, how did you start making money off that?
So I already had been like working.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already been, so Rock Creek Social Club, Scooty and Jerome were like the first people to like really give me a chance. So I'd already been kind of working with them on like their events, shooting their events, and then kind of meeting people through them. So I kind of already was in that space and been.
It wasn't just like cold turkey.
No, it wasn't cold turkey. So I remember, which comes full circle, but I remember my first gig after going completely freelance was at Union Market.
That's ironic.
Yeah, so they had the Lab 1270 pop up. And I got hired to do the video recap of it. And yeah, so
it's ironic that you had your first exhibition there too. Where you
those guys
essentially started, and then where you are now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just it's been about just trying to create at a high level, and I really honestly feel like if you do that, like you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't do any outbound on the business side. Like I don't do any outbound or anything. It's just all word of mouth. And, I work with, the Hirshhorn Smithsonian. I work with, obviously like Union Market and just everybody.
Those are some awesome clients, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. You don't have to do like outbound marketing, Facebook ads or anything like that.
No.
It's like it all just sort of happens because they like your original creative vision.
Yeah. Just word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you should always try to over deliver. On the client like side, if you over deliver, like they will talk to other people.
I've heard about that strategy a lot too, is over deliver, before deadline and all that stuff. Like that will get you more clients 100% of the time.
Yeah. So coming from that sales background, I was already in pretty like intense atmosphere. Like, so I was used to it. It's just intensity. Like, yo, like you got to hit your numbers. Like they pushed, Ryan and Ryan Page, Paul Gomez. Paul Gomez was one of the people who started Hurley. So he was like the marketing director at Progenics, and they really built a culture. So they were accomplished and they knew kind of like what they wanted. So they pushed us hard, and coming from that to like going freelance was a perfect transition. So, people would be super surprised at my turnaround times. And I'm just like, well, I'm literally full-time freelance. So I should be able to get a video back to you in 48 business hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you still do that?
No. Yeah. No. Before, yeah. Like, no. Now, no, it takes a little longer.
We're probably doing a lot more, I guess, too, on it now.
Not necessarily more, but just the projects are a little more expansive, a little bit more like, just more, like
bigger ideas, more work, more days, more editing, more footage.
Yeah, exactly. More footage and more of I need to really think about how I'm telling the story versus, doing something for Jameson, which is just like, showing them that people at that pop-up that they did were dancing and having fun.
Wow, Jameson, so fun.
Yeah.
It makes drinking look cool. Right. Okay, yeah. Pay me.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I like Jameson. I like whiskey.
Yeah? Whiskey guy?
I just started drinking like 2 years ago, year and a half.
Wait, you're telling me you've never drank before that?
I mean...
Or you just
occasionally.
Or you just start getting like fucked up?
Nah. I got super drunk when I turned 21. But then after that, I was like, it just wasn't ever my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you feel about weed?
I love weed.
Does that creatively inspire you a lot?
I don't know if it creatively inspires me. I think weed for me, like my mind relaxes a little bit. Like it's not going so crazy. And it allows kind of more free-flowing thought. But it's horrible for execution in my personal experience. So I become, I always say I just become the laziest version of myself just within that.
Dude, I agree with you.
Within that. And I know a lot of people like hate for that because it's like that negative connotation, but that's just personally for me. When I smoke, I like to just relax and I like to, talk a lot. I like to, watch movies, listen to music. Like I like to think, but that's where it kind of stops. Like I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, you don't want to have to go out and film that video and like get all energized and have to talk to people. You're just like, that's how I kind of feel about it too. It's more of like an in-store thing where I want to do it at night after I finish my shit.
Yes, after you finish everything you gotta do.
Have a little smoke and just relax, you know, because I don't know if you work out anymore, but I work out a couple times a week just because I like it. It makes me feel good. It makes my brain feel good.
Yep.
And man, a little bit of weed just makes me feel so good. And sometimes I almost feel like I need that release, like just that mental switch to just.
That's what it is for me.
Get lost in some weird sauce. Find some weird inspiration.
Right. Yeah. I work out too much.
Oh, you work out too?
Yeah.
Nice, man. I don't meet many artists who do work out.
Yeah, a lot.
Are you doing CrossFit?
So it depends. I kind of like, I guess, natural to everything that you've known of me after this conversation. I like to experiment. So I do like, right now I'm doing kind of like a bodybuilding type cardio acceleration program where, you do a certain set of reps and then in between that set, you're doing some type of cardio acceleration for a minute, whether that be jumping jacks or sprints or heavy bag work or stuff like that. So I also do a little MMA as well.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing MMA for? That's crazy.
So I started with jiu-jitsu. When was that? That had to
God forbid someone tells you the wrong thing about your work. You can put them in a freaking headlock on the ground and roll with them and just completely destroy them. Jesus.
No. Don't look at my girlfriend now.
Why?
That side comes up with her.
Yeah, don't mess with her. You're about to catch a arm bar on the ground.
For sure. No, but yeah, so yeah, I think weed for me is that. It's just more of the relaxing, just chilling. And then when it comes to time to execute, like I can't.
That's a lot of balance that you have there. It's like physical, the mental, and then like the art. It's like I sometimes I feel like too much of one can be a bad thing. Like if you're just pure heady artist and you don't exercise your physical, I feel like there's a lot of yin and yang to that.
That's when you just start taking yourself too seriously.
Like, oh, I'm just some soft creative person.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. It's to me, it's just about being realistic. And again, like my kind of, I guess, mission statement of like art isn't exclusive, it's inclusive. I think again, if you're just because these are pitfalls that I fell in. So through my journey, just thinking, okay, cool. Well, like I'm not the type to get up and just, smoke and sit there and throw, paint at a, at a canvas and, that's just, and have a messy like house and this, that. That's just not me, So I just thought that excluded me from being an artist or this, and that's not true. There's a good book that I have called The Artist Studio, and
that's really interesting. You say that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's a really quick point. I almost missed that. You almost feel like you're not a full artist if you're not fully past that edge that we said. That kind of feels weird. You know, like you kind of feel like if you're not 100% in it, starving. Yeah. Don't work out the physical, then you're not a real artist. Right. But that's it's stupid. Not true.
Yeah, fuck that.
Like I can't worry about my bills and have a clean place and all this. What's this book you're about to talk about?
The Artist Studio. The Artist Studio is a great book. And what it does is they went and photographed a whole ton of different artists, ton of different mediums, and a short interview of them, their space, and kind of their process. And that book is great. And that book was eye-opening for me because I learned that wow, a lot of these artists wake up early. A lot of these artists go work out. A lot of these artists and it's a process. So there's a process to everything. So it didn't just happen. And I took kind of my process in my business where it's like, okay, cool. We sit down, we have a consultation. You tell me the story you're trying to tell. And then I kind of can figure out what's the best way visually to show that. And I put that towards the creative part as well, the art part as well. So there's a process to coming up with an idea. And if you can understand that process and enjoy that process and research about that process, then, in theory, you can create ideas on demand, which if you are a freelance creative that works with companies, whether that's full-time, part-time, whatever, then that's what you have to do. Essentially, you're
the idea guy. You have to have something. Here's your idea for this product. What do you got?
Yeah. Look at Mad Men.
I actually never really saw that show.
Yeah, it's a good show. It gets weird at the later seasons.
But what about Mad Men?
So they literally had to come up with a pitch. Mm-hmm. It's ad agency. So it's you have to come up with an idea and a pitch like this, and that's what people come and pay you for. So looking at that, that being kind of my introduction to kind of really, really creating, through that process, I started to realize the better that I got when I would go in these rooms, people would be like, oh, he's so creative, this, that. But I never felt it because I still kind of had that stigma of artist is this, and that's just not true. So again, realizing that we all have our own perspective and our own way that you're the only person that's lived your life.
Exactly.
The only person in the whole world, billions of people, and you're the only person that's lived your life. So why do you expect that you should be like A, B, C, D?
Why should your path have to look like theirs? Why does your timing
it's literally
have to
impossible.
Look like theirs?
Literally impossible. Literally. There's not a possibility in which you've lived the same life as someone else. Mm-hmm. So that means that should liberate you to understand, okay, cool, you can be this person that's into, UFC, but also into art at the same time.
Yeah, being into UFC does not make you not an artist.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really interesting thing to say, because I feel like so many times it leans to one side. Like when I described you earlier as just going home and being like, oh, I'm creating, I'm always taking inspiration.
Right.
It's so not true, and you don't have to be that. It's okay to be clean. It's okay to pay your bill. Sometimes it's okay to have health insurance.
Yeah,
and to do all these things.
Yeah,
that doesn't make you not an artist.
Yeah. It doesn't. You make you an artist. If you create, you're an artist. So see, we gotta break down those walls and stop thinking that you can't take inspiration from NBA game. That you can't take inspiration from whatever.
I think sometimes people get hung up on the whole full-time, part-time artist too. A lot of times people feel like, oh, if you're not full-time artist, then you're not really doing it. You're half-assing it.
No, I don't think so. I think, shout out to Brian, Go Fresco.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he's a photographer. That's my boy. We had a conversation a couple months back, and he had went, I don't want to tell his story, but he had went, full-time freelance for a certain amount of time. And then, if I can remember correctly, he decided that he actually didn't enjoy that, that he actually would like to kind of have a mix of both worlds, and that's fine.
That's self-awareness.
Exactly. So you have to be self-aware, and that, again, goes back to being from in out. So you know what your capabilities are. My capabilities don't involve me working for anyone. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. It's just
hate taking orders, or you feel like you...
No, it's just I need it's got to be a collaboration. It's got to be, okay, like you understand that you're bringing me in for X, Y, Z. So although you may have an idea of what you want this video to look like, I am the professional in the sense of this is what I do on a daily basis.
You're not telling me to wake up at 9 a.m. every day, come in Monday through Friday.
No.
It's no, sure, you're working for someone, but not in that traditional sense.
Exactly.
Right? Like ownership of you in a weird way.
Exactly. Yeah. So
where they can tell you to wake up at this time and to do this and to meet these numbers.
Yeah. I need to have control of my destiny. I need to have control of kind of my work output and the direct relation between work output and, you know, compensation on that side. If you on your freelance side, if you put in work, you will make money. Mm-hmm. It's just, it is what it is. Like if you put in work, you will make money. If you find,
so you're saying that like if you just create with all your heart, but that sounds so cheesy. But if you just create like good stuff, then it'll come to you.
100%. 100%. You know, obviously there's caveats there. There's things that you need to do, whether that be, you know, to meet certain people, to get hooked up with certain people. I have amazing support system of brothers and sisters who recommend me, who I can go to and kind of ask about this, that, you know.
So why stay in DC? Do you feel like you'll gas out of this place, or what's your opinion? Because I feel like a lot of people feel that DC doesn't have that thing for them. And I don't know if you want notoriety or if you want fame, if you want to reach the upper echelons of artistry. Not that it doesn't happen in DC, but it just seems like it's so natural for people to not find that here. Where do you live on that coin? Like, what's your opinion on that?
That's another cool thing that people say is that, oh, DC this, DC that. Mm-hmm. I think that it depends on what your goal is and what you are trying to create. For me, it's about being able to be independent. So if you take the concept of an independent music artist, if you take the music out, that's the concept that I kind of like think of myself as, is the independent artist, where, you know, I can pay for my exhibition. I can put it on. I can produce it, produce the event or the opening event. I can kind of like one-stop shop. Mm-hmm. And if I'm thinking like that, then that means it doesn't matter where I am, in a sense, right? DC has enough people who are interested in art, and I think my exhibition showed that. We had over 350 people in the opening reception, like 750 RSVPs.
Dude, it was packed.
Yeah, it was pretty packed. So it shows that there are people who are interested in art. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have some of the best art museums in the world here at the Hirshhorn. You know,
we do. We have some collections.
Some great stuff. So people are interested. It's just that I think that the bar is very low in DC. So it's very low, is where people kind of just do what is easy for them to do instead of just taking that extra time to be thoughtful and maybe risking a little bit more so that their creations are being seen in the way that they should be.
So you're saying it doesn't depend on location, essentially. It doesn't matter if you're in DC, if you're in New York, if you're in LA.
So that rolls into the pros of the digital world, is that it brings everything and makes everything smaller. So if you're creating high level art, whatever, then, you know, you can be seen online. Mm-hmm. You know, like my boys at Die Starts Monday, shout out to Davin. He's created several brands.
Dude, I have so much respect for that whole camp of people.
Yeah.
The Die Starts Monday, the Rock Creek Social Club, Uncle Scooby, and all them. I became aware of them because of you. I kind of just went down this rabbit hole of following people. I was like, whoa, these are the people in DC who are putting on all the cool shit.
Oh, 100%.
And I went down that rabbit hole and I was like, and I've been following Davin a lot. I'm like, this guy's just killing it.
Davin is incredible.
I'm like,
you got to get him on here.
I really would love to have him on here. Like,
I'll talk to him.
That'd be great. I'm also going to be hopefully meeting him at an event in like a week or two.
Okay.
If you talk, that'd be a great.
What event?
It's called the Digilog.
Okay.
I think
here.
Yeah, it's in DC. Okay. It's going to be at a WeWork in there. It's like a creative sort of thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
But if you could hit him up for me, I mean, I can also DM, but I would love to connect.
For sure.
He is someone who I think is really putting on for the city, or even putting on for himself.
Yeah, he's just a smart dude. And he's been able to create these brands, you know, essentially like from DC, and even put on these pop-up events, like these pop-up shops that are super conceptual and outside of the norm of what people normally do. And that has kind of raised some sort of culture in the city around fashion. And then being able to kind of take that and go on the road. They just had a pop-up at Patron of the New.
In New York.
In New York, yeah. Which is highly respected store.
During Fashion Week.
During Fashion Week. So shout out my boys, man. They're working. I don't think you can't use excuses. You can't use excuses, and you can't appropriate someone else's decisions onto yourself. So if I know someone who's a creative here who it may not have been hitting for them, but then they go to LA and they just blow up, that doesn't mean that's the best for me. It just means that was their path, so that's good for them. And there are other people whose path, may be to stay here and to create here. And, so a lot of times, like for me, it's just about how the energy feels and where I feel like I'm being led. And, who knows, if I'll end up in LA or wherever, then, that will be the choice that is right for us at that time. But I'm damn sure not going to allow the whole like DC doesn't have a creative whatever, like to stop me from creating. Because even if it was just me and you in the gallery, again, I'm cool because I did it. You know what I'm saying? I made it. So
I kind of asked that in that question in a selfish way too, because I feel like I've kind of hit this point in my career, and I'd love your insight on this, where I want to shoot fashion. I want to shoot like fashion editorials.
Right.
And I feel like I can't find that work in DC.
Yeah.
Like I find it, but it's not, there's no fashion industry here.
Right.
And so I, in a way, I'm kind of at this mental dilemma where I'm like, should I just move to New York where it actually is? And that's something that you don't deal with as a videographer, because videography can be anything. The videography industry is everywhere. In that sense, the world is flat.
Right.
And that's an interesting concept I learned in college. It's like the world is flat because of the digital age.
Right.
We can Skype, FaceTime, do anything at any time with anyone. And so because of that, it levels the playing field for everyone in the world, which means that now you're competing with everyone on a global scale.
Right.
But, back to my selfish point of that question is that, like, I asked that because, and I feel like some people who are creatives in the scene is like, is that an excuse for me to be like, the fashion's not in DC, it's in New York. Should I just be in New York?
I wouldn't say it's an excuse, but you're presenting a problem and not a solution. So if you have a problem, it's either you just have to figure out what the solution is. So whether the solution is, okay, for, 6 months, I'm going to save up and move to New York. That's your solution. Or I'm going to attack it where, cool, I want to do these big fashion shoots. So I am going to, I'm going to do my own pulls. I'm going to, get a credit card, and I'm going to go to Nordstrom, and I'm going to buy a whole bunch of clothes. I'm going to find a model. I'm going to pay them out of pocket, and I'm going to create this shoot. And then I'm going to just go take the clothes back. And get my money back. And then maybe your full investment, maybe, I don't know how much you'd have to pay the model, but let's say $250 or whatever. But you have these images that you can then kind of like put out into the world and see how the world kind of receives them. Or you can start to create decks and send it off to brands. You can start to try to do collaborations where you say you'll, shoot the stuff for free in exchange for a tag or this, or exchange for an opportunity to do another shoot. So for me, it's about creative problem solving, because the problems are always going to be there and anywhere you go. So it's like the problem now is that there's no creative industry or there's no fashion industry in DC. But then when you go to New York or LA, there's a robust fashion infrastructure in both those cities, but everyone is there trying to shoot as well.
Very true.
So the idea of the rapper from Houston or Chicago or Miami that has the whole city behind them and then goes to LA and then goes to New York is way more powerful than the rapper who just goes there and doesn't have a following at all.
Very true.
So I always kind of thought about like body your city. You know what I'm saying? Like be that person in your city for whatever you do, and opportunities will come for sure.
That's been a lot of my motto for is like, I want DC to fuck with me before anything else. I always wanted DC to fuck with me first.
Right.
That way it's like you almost build your fan club. And I think me telling you this, like this weird problem about myself, right? I think a lot of other artists can relate to that.
100%.
And I meet so many people who are like, I just need more clients. I just need more of this. I just need more of that. I don't know if the work is here. Is the solution moving? And so I think talking about it is it's probably going to help so many people who just listen to what you just said. And that was epic. Like it essentially, you're essentially saying that like, it's not so much your location. It's the way you're creatively solving your problems.
Yeah. You just gotta work. You just gotta work. If you fall in love with like the process of working, everything else will take care of itself. If you fall in love with the process of creating, everything will take care of itself. You know, there's I'm just gonna keep shouting out our talent because there's so much talent here. There's Cam Hicks. Shout out to Cam. Cam was here and he would do all these like high level I can't remember what his site was called. Man. But anyways, Cam Hicks. He started here. He was from Virginia, and he would just do all these crazy good editorials. Like, just started doing them, started creative directing these shoots and shooting himself and modeling himself. And he was doing all this great work. And he left and went to New York, and then everything blew up for him. You know, he's working with Off-White now.
Wow.
With Virgil, all that. Like, and he's super talented. But while he was here, he was doing the same thing. Literally. Like, he was doing this as what he's doing now for Virgil and them, he was doing here the same thing with the same intent, with the same eye, with the same thoughtfulness. And, you know, his path took him to New York, and obviously it worked because I feel like, you know, overnight, you know, it went to where it is now, which he's, you know, working at a super high level. But at the same point of time, like, I don't think I could ever remember him saying while he was here, like, you know, I hate it here, da-da-da-da. Like, he was still doing it here, still linking up with people here, creating. So
he was like summoned to New York or just kind of led him there?
I'm not sure. I think he just decided to move. I'm not sure. But yeah, so, you know, I think...
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that whatever, like, if you feel a deep alliance to DC, then don't leave. If you don't, fuck it, leave.
That's a common thought that I think a lot of people get salty at, is that when someone is doing something in DC and they go somewhere else and then they kind of forget about DC, that's like a thing
Why?
I don't know, that this is just something that I've heard from a lot, is that I've heard people get upset that when someone is in DC and they're from DC, like they feel like they're too big and they leave the city, and then they get salty about that.
People get salty about everything.
I can't worry about
it. You just got like, you know, I get it. I definitely get it. But
okay. Let me use this example. So I recently did a shoot for this girl that works in here. She makes these awesome jackets, right? Cool. I saw her jackets. I was like, yo, I want to do a shoot with your jackets. Right. I did a whole show. I did a whole editorial. It was amazing. I brought in a model. Yep. I brought in a stylist, this whole 9 yards. I did the shoot. It was great. It's probably some of my best work yet, my best fashion editorial work yet. I'm at a fashion show, and I see this girl wearing one of her jackets, and I walk up to her, and I'm like, yo, I was like, I love your jacket. Is that from Lou? She's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, you did that shoot with her? And I was like, yeah. She's like, yo, I love that work. I was like, hey, thank you so much. I was like, I really liked doing it too. I felt like I did justice for her work, for her jackets. Right. And then she told me that, she was like, a lot of people were upset by that shoot. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, people were upset that Lou, the person from DC, used a Hispanic model that wasn't like a black model. That it wasn't.
Is Lou black?
Yes. Like it was a thought that felt very like it's a very digressive thought. Like, how dare you do this? Like, how dare you use another model when you're trying to level this up? And that was very shocking to me.
What's the story of her brand? There's a story of her brand?
I don't know, but I just remember this experience feeling very like, whoa, like I had no idea this was a factor of that. Like,
I think it depends on like what your story is. So if her story is very, I don't know, Afrocentric or whatever, then I can see maybe where people will be confused. I'm not condoning the judgment behind that, but that just is what it is. I'm black, if you didn't see.
Dude, you are?
So like
of course, dude. Yeah.
Anything that I do is going to be from that perspective.
True.
So if I do have some ideas that are kind of racially motivated from like my perspective as a young black man in a society, but then I have ideas that have nothing to do with that. So it's just, I mean, I just feel like we got to stop that. We have to stop that. I think, as minorities in general, I think that's how we can be held back, is by automatically just, again, projecting what you feel like someone should do onto them, because you may have had a very, very intimate experience with your race. Like, you may have had a time where, you felt the injustice of being Black.
Mm-hmm.
And that is your unique perspective. And that perspective can motivate you to create from that place. But if someone else has not had that experience, how in the world can they create from that space? How can you expect them to create from that space? So you just have to understand that they are that. So they're Black. So anything that they create is like that's good. It's good to see a Black person do anything, or a minority do anything. Right?
100%.
But you can't expect that person to, you just can't expect that person to be that way. Kendrick Lamar is one of my favorite artists, and you can hear his conviction in his music. Like, you can hear that he thinks about injustice. Same with J. Cole. You can hear that, and that's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that, to me, that doesn't take away from anyone else who's creating, and they just may make the best love songs. Like Daniel Caesar or someone, like it just, like, he is creating from his experience, being probably a pretty, like, open to, like, romance and love type of guy. But I'm not going to be mad at him for not creating a redemption song by Molly's. Like, it's different. So to me, it's just me from my super kind of analytical spaces. You can't be upset at people for doing what they feel natural to them.
100%.
As long as it's not infringing on you or someone else, you can't get caught up in that. You just can't get caught up in that.
Dude, you summed that up way better than I ever could. That was amazing. Jesus. I think you just a round of applause for that. That was great.
Yeah, man. I'm in my head a lot, and I think, my dad being Guyanese and my family being Guyanese and me being Guyanese and what that means to literally be first generation. Like, I've thought about that a lot, and I've thought about the rich culture of Guyana, and I've thought about, like, growing up, eating, roti and curry and jerk chicken, and, listening to some of
that's who you are. That makes music. That's your inspiration.
It's who I am.
That's what makes you. It makes you unique.
It's who I am.
Yeah.
But I may not have a gallery where I'm playing, Bob Marley or whoever.
Yeah. No one should be upset at you that you're not selling roti at your
exactly.
exhibition.
It just doesn't. It's not what I'm supposed to do. So
that's interesting that you're first generation and that there was no pressure for you to be a doctor or be a lawyer. I mean, I talk to a lot of artists who. That is the most insane pressure, is that they're first generation and their parents are like, you better do something safe. You better go to college. This artist thing is bullshit. Like, and I mean, dude, that's a really unique, like, rare story I hear from you, is that your dad was an entrepreneur, and that kind of encourages it. And you kind of saw that.
My only pressure from them was to be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to pay rent, to be able to take care of myself, to be able to be an adult, that was the only pressure, is to be self-sufficient. So, like, they did let me know that anything was possible, so I was just a normal kid, just played basketball, played sports, and had a vivid imagination. And I wasn't like a prodigy or anything like that, but I was exposed to a lot of different, like, my mom was buying me opera CDs in 3rd grade. She was young too. Like, she had me when she was 20.
Whoa.
Yeah. So she, I was exposed to a lot, and I was exposed to, kind of like the juxtaposition of being both, like, the memes get you a man that can do both. Like, that's like, like, I was exposed to a lot. And, from there, I just kind of realized that, man, you don't have to be one thing, because you feel conflicted all the time. Like, there's you who you are in front of this group of people. There's who you are in front of this group of people, this, that, and the third. And you may feel conflicted, but I don't think you should. Mm-hmm. I think that that's just you. Like, we're all multifaceted humans. We aren't just one thing. But the digital world makes the world so much smaller that if I'm able to get on Instagram and see how every other videographer posts, then I feel the pressure to be like, okay, cool. Well, I need to feel valid, so I need to act and post like this.
Do you end up doing that?
No.
You don't?
No.
Do you find that sometimes there's such thing as too much over-influence?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be you. You got to be yourself. You got to be yourself unapologetically, and it just, to me, it looks corny when everyone is just doing the same thing. Just because everyone is doing it, it looks corny. So I probably have always naturally kind of wanted to do the opposite of what everyone else was doing. Mm-hmm. So I can't say that. Like I probably at some point, like in elementary school, wanted to be accepted. I'm like, we all have.
Yeah,
but at some point, like I just was like, fuck it. I'm just going to be me. So I don't necessarily feel that pressure at all. I live so much inside myself that I don't really care exactly how things are taken or what people feel about things, because they make me feel a certain way, mm-hmm. especially like online posting and stuff like that. Obviously we want to put out good work. But if you're doing your due diligence, in most cases, you probably will put out good work, and you'll have people who will come up to you and say, I love that shoot that you did because you put out the good work, So yeah, I don't really feel any pressure, because like, what is pressure in a sense? Like pressure is just something that we make up.
External forces telling you that you should be doing something a certain way.
Right.
To their expectations.
Right. But again, if you're not focused on them, then, what does it matter? I think like, so the week of my exhibit, I definitely was like high strung, but that was more so to meet my own.
That's self pressure. Like, I want things to be perfect.
Exactly.
I want my
not
message
perfect,
but I want my message to be displayed how I want it to.
Exactly.
I want it to at least have the chance of coming across how I want it to. I don't want to not let this not like fall flat. I don't want to like not get this across.
Yeah. So it's more so just like, all right, cool. I hope that the technology works the way that it's been working. I hope a computer doesn't just shut off and the projection stops.
I
hope, that, it's not so packed that people have to wait outside in the cold, because that is the exact thing that I'm trying to take away the pretentious aspect from art.
Is that why you didn't do it in a gallery or anything like that either?
Yeah. So I'm needy. I'm selfish. So it's like, I need to control like everything if I can. Like, if I can control everything, then that's a good way to go. And I think the fact that I didn't have it in a gallery lends exactly to my story of understanding that there's another way to do whatever you want to do. Like, if you've been calling that gallery, sending them your photos, and they just never respond, man, like, do your own thing.
But it sucks. Like, yeah, but that's stupid, because why do you need their validation for your work? It's almost like the old model of the music industry. Now you don't need to go through an A&R to get put on. Now you don't need to impress some guy at the record label. You can just put on SoundCloud, put on YouTube, film your own music video, and put yourself on. You can create your own exhibition, put yourself on.
Well, validation is something that's beaten into us the first day of pre-K.
Earn this A.
Yeah,
get the honor roll.
Yeah, you go there, and if you get perfect attendance, you get an award, a plaque, and it's so that validation is something that literally we are taught throughout our formative years. Of if you get on honor roll, you get a sticker that your parents can put on the back.
That was one of the biggest mental awakenings I ever had in my life, was post-school system. I think it's almost like periods of your life. Like that time when I graduated and I'm sitting there in my apartment, I'm like, wait a minute, like no one's telling me what to do anymore.
Right.
Like, what is this feeling? It was this weird liberating feeling of not owing anyone anything.
I think I only made honor roll like 2 quarters out of my whole life.
I never made honor roll, man.
We dropped out of PG community after like about probably like maybe like 47 hours.
Did you go to college?
I went to PG for like as long as it took for them to take my ID picture. Then I stopped going. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have no college education. I'm not against it. It just wasn't for me. again, I just always kind of like, I just question things at such a deeper level that I felt like, man, I think when I graduated at like a 2.4, I think that was like my from high school, my graduating GPA. And I didn't feel like I wasn't as smart as the kids who, were in the honors classes. Mm-hmm. I had like a website and a clothing line in high school.
Dude, you're a natural born hustler, 100%. Dude, you're natural. That was so not me. You're the hustler to be selling shoes, having clothing line. Like, it's just instilled in you, the hustler DNA.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I found. I kind of found that, and that's what I put my like time into. So literally, instead of doing homework and like studying, I was literally like hanging out with Peter and Brandon like at their art galleries.
This was all in the cards for you, it seems like.
It was just a matter of now time. I'm saying it and that we're talking it now, it like literally
it all makes sense. Like when you connect the dots, like it was just so natural that you got there.
Yeah.
And that's cool, man. It's cool that I could catch you at like this moment in your career. I always try to have guests on the show who I think are killing it and who are going to be killing it in the future. And I think that's awesome. And I'm grateful that you could share this time with me, man.
No, man, I appreciate
that's really cool.
You caring.
Dude, of course, man. I mean, after seeing you put on that event, I was like, all right, this guy's doing something. Like, I know who he is, but like, I have to talk to him. And even now after talking to you, I'm like, dude, like I believe in this guy 100%. Like, this is someone like truly special. Like, dude, like the way you think is insane. You make me feel like I need to like embrace more of my art side and think about things critically and analytically.
You just need to do what you want.
So true, man.
Like I again, the noise bothers me, and I'm not interested in being on a podcast for the sake of saying that I'm important enough to be on a podcast or interviewed or this. I don't care about any of that. I only care about like the work and letting people know to focus on the work and demystifying like what creativity, what art and all that stuff is, because like every word that we have has a ever evolving definition. Like nothing is ever just what it is. There's always an evolving definition of what things are and what capabilities are. So instead of being the person that waits for someone else to like redefine something, like why don't you do it? Like, why don't you just redefine it yourself? If you have a unique vision on something, just go do it, even if no one's done it before. And even if they don't understand it, you should have like, you should have an appreciation for the fact that you just expressed that. It shouldn't be, oh, well, they don't get it, so I'm not going to do it. Just keep doing it, man. Like, I guess the last thing that I'll say is that, if we look at the total existence of like existence, total time of existence, better said.
In general or just
in general? In general.
Okay.
Like, I'm a big fan of my boy, Tyson.
Oh,
the physicist.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's my beautiful girlfriend. And he once said that like, everything that we know as existence, whether, I guess you say AD, is like a second in like the universe's clock. So if that's true, then that means there is a chance that nothing I do really fucking matters at all. So instead of me kind of looking at that from like a negative standpoint, I just look at it as a liberating standpoint, because like, fuck it. If it doesn't matter, then I'm just going to do what the hell I want to do. Like, and I'm going to live the way that I want to live.
Why hold myself back?
Yeah, it's just like, why. It just doesn't, if it doesn't matter, because there's a strong chance that it doesn't, then let me design a life that I want to live, and I'm going to enjoy the time that I'm here, and I want to impact people in a way where it's positive and that maybe, my outlook can overflow into their life, and the things that I create can hold a place in their life of happiness. And that's it. Like, that's why to me, it doesn't matter how big or not big I get, or how this is received or how that is received, because either way, the time is going to pass.
And we're just going to be a second in the
universe. So either way, in 100 years, I'll probably be dead.
That's guaranteed. Yeah. I mean, you never know. We might end up becoming cyborgs or something.
Right. Well, yeah, I'll most likely to be. I'd like to get to 120, but I think after that, like, I'll be good.
Would you become a cyborg if you had the option? Like if they could like pass your brain chip onto like a body, would you do it?
No. Yeah, I think, no, I can't. No chips in my head. I was watching the Elon Musk, Joe Rogan podcast.
I love that. That one was great.
It was fucking fire.
How scary was that though?
It was, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We can't stop it. So it's just going to happen. But I, for one, like the extension, like the AI, the extension of that like limitless like knowledge, I'm cool with having it in my hand, but not a chip in my brain.
Not like the whole bandwidth thing he was talking about.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
You don't want the chip in your brain that just allows you to look up something on Google and to like be plugged in all the time?
No, it's too much. My mind is already kind of like always going. So if I didn't have to leave like my bed to access information, like if I could just close my eyes and be surfing the web, I would never like.
You're essentially like a virtual world at that point.
Sometimes I already feel like I'm in a virtual world.
Dude.
So
that's heavy.
Yeah.
It's blunt. I'm just kidding. Well, dude, man, I normally ask guests, like, hey, is there anything they want to say about it? You just said it, man.
Yeah, there's nothing else, man. Just do what you want to do, man. Just stop being dramatic. Just do what you want to do. It's going to be okay. There's, just do what you want to do. That's all
Sweet, man. So if anyone in their car is driving or anyone watching this on YouTube is curious about you or your work, where should they go?
District-Dodger.com, at District Dodger on social. I don't have a Twitter because obviously I'm already long-winded, so I don't think anyone really wants to read.
What do you mean? They extended the characters. You're fine.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I just I do want to take time to say thanks to everyone who came to the exhibit, everyone who helped. There's so many people that I can name, so I won't name people, but like we have a personal relationship, so that I appreciate you, but I just want to use this platform to say I appreciate everyone that helped, and I appreciate you for giving a fuck about anything I have to say. So
hell yeah, man, dude, you're blowing my mind for the past however long. Cool. That was sweet.
Yeah,
it's the whole reason I do this, is just to learn from other people and people I find interesting.
Right.
And yeah, dude, that was cool. That's sweet, man. I hope everyone looks you up and gets tapped in. You can flex on them on the gram. You can flex on them on the gram. I realized I mumbled that entire sentence. Jesus. All right, guys. Well, that's it. And that's the angle. Peace out.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, bro. It's funny because when I watch podcasts, I always wonder like how it is right after they like end it. And now I'm in it.
So literally right now I have to stop it. So it's still recording.
Okay.
But I'm just like, oh, I gotta go do it.
This is the director's cut.
Yeah, I actually like to I'll leave like a little bit before in.
Yeah.
And I'll leave a little bit after in.
Yeah.
But I'll probably cut this part out. Or will I?